one particular comment about the last table was we need to, someone suggested that we need to keep the river accessible. And I think a lot of us are talking about keeping the green space accessible to everyone, not just
Thank you. Peter Fisher.
Okay, so a lot of what people had to say mirrors what we're hearing so far, that a lot of people felt there's no shortage of land to develop within the city, that to leave the waterfront alone, to leave the green space alone. There were a couple of comments about revisiting the Front Lang project that they had spoken of a couple of years ago. A lot of comments about the aquatic center, the view from the aquatic center, that if there were to be construction of any sort, that it would impede the views, and that was one of the main reasons for putting it where it is. And parking was a huge thing that there was a lot of comments about there's not enough parking now when there are sporting events and those sorts of things here, that there's already not enough parking to take some away, that we'll lose some. Ecotourism was another thing that was brought up, that by putting things along the waterfront, that we are potentially damaging the ecosystem. And most of it was just sort of, I don't think I'm missing anything else here. There was a couple of comments about suggestions on what we could do in the park. One of our table mates is a new corner light, and she had some suggestions about different things we could put in the park to sort of make it more attractive to people, but still have it remain green. Potentially an ice rink, potentially a market, potentially a place for people to come and have coffee and that sort of thing, but to make sure that it's level and it doesn't impede any view of the water.
Thank you, Keitha. Any comment on learning? Any comment on Keitha's report? Anybody else from her group wish to add? Okay. I'd like the second table on this side to share their thoughts. Thank you.
Hello, it was a very brief session, so there was a lot of good discussion, but it was kind of squeezed, and feeling that we probably had discussed it a little further. Anyway, some good ideas. First, on the east area, after some discussion, feelings were pretty much split, pro-development, anti-development, but I felt there was a lot of room on both sides for some consensus. We just didn't get there. Obviously, one key thought is being shared at every table. Once green space is gone, it's gone. I don't think there's any disagreement there. But the ribbon idea was popular, and I think there was some. It was exactly half for and against development, but I think there was some consensus that behind the ribbon might be developable. There should be some improvement in that part of town that can be born. In the parking lot, we started off with a head count too soon, I think, and then I think a lot of people misunderstood exactly what area we were talking about. I think the plans presented are handy if you have a background in reading air maps, but are probably too large a scale to really appreciate. So probably a big blow up of the area in question with some, a site plan drawn on would be helpful. Because some people thought that really any new condo development would go directly to the water, and that doesn't appear to be the plan. In any case, for and against was split 50-50 there after discussion, and ideas that were brought up were the fact that the proposed development there would likely have a very tiny footprint, which is a good thing, but some people thought it was much bigger, so that would need to be clarified. The green ribbon was popular again. Also the idea that was brought up that we really need to increase the tax revenue base in this city. Some people seem to think that taxes in Cornwall are quite low. Others know they're very high provincially. So the only way you can bring taxes is by developing and bringing new money into the city, and waterfront development is a good spot to source high revenue. So that point was made. Other than that, we went around the table and had individual comments, and I think it was a good discussion.
Thanks, Mr. Markel. Glenn, could you go next for your group?
Our table did it a little bit different. We broke it down into, first of all, one area east, the east of the complex, and there was a consensus around our table that nobody was in favor of building next to the complex, to the aquatic center. And part of the reason is we talked about poor visibility from the aquatic center. We have these beautiful windows there looking out eastward, and this would impede that. There would be a poor association with the marina as well, looking up into this building. There's already a shortage of parking, especially for big events at the complex, so that would take it away. Even though the plan is to put the same number of parking spots north, that there's still shortages, we're aware. You should have been at my table. It's, the other area we looked at, it was the area 2, and that was the oil tank area and east. And we were split on that one, 4 and 4 for development. But I think there were a few in our group that felt that part of the oil tank could be used for condo development. But they're worried that once you start going on the green space, that it will continue right down until you're in the water. So that's the fear of some of our. And the other part we talked about was a lookout point, and where the ribbon goes through now. And we didn't really get a chance to get into a lot of discussion on that one because of the time constraints. But it was a lively discussion, and from the consensus, I thought nobody was in favor of changing the consultation, the consultant's plan on lookout point is keeping it the way it was originally designed. And so that's a pretty good summary of what we did, but all in all, no development east of the aquatic center.
Thank you, Glenn. Quick comments or questions for Glenn?
Sounds like a good discussion.
You were in that one?
No.
Mentioned the term condo keeps coming up, but it doesn't seem like anything's really stipified in any term. So I'm really sure that we're talking about condos.
It was half question, half comment. Graham said that we keep referring to condo development, but he didn't see anything in the associated literature that referred specifically to condos. So I don't know whether that's true or not.
Maybe I ask the question this way, that in the current plan shows residential development as an opportunity for the oil tanks land. I guess you probably need to focus on the residential. Condominium is a form of ownership, it's not a form of development, right? So you could have residential rentals, you could have residential condominiums and other things. So I think the focus should be on what is the land use. So the current plan, 2007 plan, says the oil tanks land is a potential site for residential development.
Further comments on Glenn's presentation? Okay.
There's more time needed. For the next meeting, we need more time.